Let me tell you what my deep research and basically vision is.
I hope there's Bigfoot. I don't think there is.
I'm not telling you nothing.
The aliens won't let it happen.
Happening now, breaking.
Bernie Sanders is angry.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
What are the tips? Give me some tips on how to work with Wes Anderson.
Be ready to speak very fast and very clearly, because that's definitely one key thing.
I will only tell the truth.
Until you and 6 kids you barely know in wet bathing suits have surrounded 9 chimpanzees outside of a Wendy's. You probably really don't know yourself, okay?
Yep. And we back.
Hello and welcome into episode 90 of In the Shed with Wes Anderson, our first edition of Wednesday Morning Sports, where instead of a deep dive news show where we cover topics and trending stories from the world of politics, sports, and the paranormal, instead we just talk sports. Nothing but sports, a couple of items that we find to be of particular interest on this day. We hit it hard and fast, and then we bid you adieu. Let's dive in. The first story we want to cover this morning, Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson now Hall of Fame eligible as Major League Baseball lifts ban. So, posthumously, easy for you to say, MLB has decided to lift the bans on Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson, 2 all-time level players now eligible for the Hall of Fame. They both had been banned because of sports betting. And the MLB, who now partners with how many different sports betting brands, has decided that since they are passed, they can now be admitted to the Hall if they get the vote. And to me, this is yet another example of Major League Baseball getting it right much too late. I don't think that this really moves the needle a whole lot. I guess it's kind of cool that those guys could get put into the Hall of Fame, but hey, neither one of them are here to see it. And at least in Pete Rose's case, it would have been very easy to have made this decision before he passed. It would have been very easy to do, to at least leave it up to the voters, to say if they want to vote him into the Hall of Fame, then we'll allow it. But no, MLB has to royally screw it up and has to wait till Pete Rose has passed away. Of course, Shoeless Joe has been gone for quite some time now. And look, I know that people are celebrating the decision. Some people are decrying it. I would say a vocal minority still say that these guys besmirch the game of baseball through their actions and deserve lifetime bans. It never should be considered when it comes to the Hall of Fame. Okay. But mostly the reception has been praise. Mostly the reception has been praise online that I've seen, and I just don't get it. Major League Baseball has a history over decades of doing the right thing too late, of not keeping up with trends, of not reaching younger fan bases, of hanging on to traditions that are not worthwhile and that don't advance the game, all of these unwritten rules of baseball. And there's a reason why 30 and under, it's the 5th most popular sport in America. It ranks 5th when it comes to people 30 and under. Baseball is the 5th most popular sport, America's pastime. And to me, this decision is a microcosm of the reason why. Because baseball can't get out of its own way. It doesn't do itself any favors. Pete Rose receiving a lifetime ban from baseball for betting on baseball when he was a manager. Allegedly, he only bet on his team to win, but there are rumors and innuendo that say otherwise. Shoeless Joe Jackson, of course, a part of the famous Black Sox scandal when it was alleged that they fixed the World Series. And certainly it was proved that Shoeless Joe Jackson took a payment of, I think it was $5,000 to do so. But it's also true that the man could not read or write. It's also true that the man batted .375 in that World Series and hit the only home run in the series for his team. If you've watched Field of Dreams, you're probably convinced that he was innocent. Was he? I don't know. He was guilty of taking the money. Did he take it and then decide not to throw the series? I mean, how do you say that the man was fixing the game when he hit .375 with the home run? Maybe he was just that good that he was hitting doubles and triples instead of home runs. I don't know. Look, I think this was the right thing to do. I think that it has long been time to at least allow those two names to be on a ballot and let the voters decide if they belong in the Hall or not. The Hall of Fame is not a character Hall of Fame. It's full of very immoral people that have done all sorts of things that are less than savory. Okay. But it exists to celebrate the accomplishments of the best baseball players ever. And these two guys are certainly a part of that group. We'll see what the voters have to say if they put them in or not. They certainly deserve the opportunity. I just think baseball messed up by doing it this late. I think they could have made peace with Pete Rose a long time ago. I know part of it was on him, that he wasn't always the most repentant. He wasn't the most forthcoming. He wasn't the most honest guy. Okay. I get the character flaws. I do. I feel a little different about Shoeless Joe Jackson myself. I'm not sure his role. However, I think that this is another example of baseball doing the right thing too late. They could have done this and should have done this when it would have been much more impactful, not only for Pete Rose, but for the game of baseball. And I think it's another example of the MLB not being able to get out of their own way. That's just me. Email the show at intheshedwithwes@gmail.com and let me know what you think. We'll throw up a poll on Twitter that asks this question, and I would love to see what you think about it. And hey, while we're at it, we might as well admit Curt Schilling to the Hall as well, because he's one of the greatest pitchers ever to take the mound. And he's being kept out because of his politics. And that's silly. I digress. The second story that we're going to hit on this morning: Michael Jordan returns the spotlight as special contributor for NBC's new NBA coverage. Yeah, so Michael Jordan, his airness, from Wilmington, North Carolina, 6'6", 215 pounds, your shooting guard and team captain, Michael Jordan. Cue the Space Jam theme song. NBC should have just sent out a fax. They should have found the last working fax machine in North America and just sent out a fax that said, "I'm back, MJ." So I saw this on social media, and at first I assumed naturally that it was fake. Michael Jordan is one of the most famous athletes ever worldwide, and at the height of his career was one of the most famous human beings alive, one of the most recognized human beings on planet Earth. And yet when he's off the court, he really kind of keeps a low profile. Other than Space Jam and a lot of commercials back in the day, you don't really see a lot of public appearances from one Michael Jeffrey Jordan. He's on the golf course, he's gambling, he's smoking a cigar, but you don't really see him in the public eye a lot. So when I saw that the GOAT was coming out of retirement, the real GOAT, the true GOAT, was coming out of retirement, I assumed it must be fake, and alas, it is real. And it's fantastic. And that's a Seinfeld reference. So Michael Jordan is going to have a role in NBC's new NBA coverage when the NBA season returns in October, and we don't really know very much about what that role will be. We know that he won't be broadcasting the game, and that's probably good because the GOATs usually aren't the best at it. We know that he won't be an in-studio analyst, won't be giving the halftime report or doing sideline interviews. All that we know so far is that he's going to be participating in some way with pre-recorded videos. And look, Michael Jordan is, along with Steph Curry, my favorite basketball player to ever play the game. So I was certainly excited to see that he was going to be participating. But I really don't know if this will be great or if it will be awful. And I'm curious to see what his role will be. What I wish it would be is pre-recorded videos of him trash talking and critiquing the best player on whatever team is playing in that game, and then they just run it at halftime. Because Jordan is one of the kings of trash talk, and he is Captain Petty. Okay, he's King Petty. Competitive as they come, he set the standard in that regard. Can you imagine if the Los Angeles Lakers and the Bulls reach halftime with the Lakers up by 7, and they cut to a video of Michael Jordan. And he's like, this is why LeBron is not me. Watch him flop on this play. He barely got touched and he felt like he got shot with a cannon. Luka needs to lose weight. JJ Redick is a pretentious child and no Phil Jackson. Back to you in the studio. That's what I wish his role would be. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know if he's going to be good at it. I don't know how involved it will be or how much work he will put into it. But it certainly piqued my interest to have Michael Jordan attached to the NBA on NBC once again, and I will certainly stay tuned for that. So there are your two stories in the world of sports this morning on Wednesday, May the 14th. Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson now Hall of Fame eligible as Major League Baseball lifts ban. Michael Jordan returns to spotlight as special contributor for NBC's new NBA coverage in under 15 minutes. And we'll talk more NBA on our regular Friday show. Tonight, the Warriors and Celtics both look to stay alive in the playoffs without their best players. I don't expect them to. We'll give out some NFL draft grades. We hope to see you tomorrow morning for Paranormal Thursdays. Have a wonderful day. Go be light and spread love. Bye-bye.